Hey YogiFit yogis, this is Leigha Butler. I hope you're enjoying your journey so far. Today's class is a hip opening class. It could be helpful if you have 2 blocks and a blanket, but no concern if you don't have blocks. You could make use of a couple of books, or you might find that you don't need the blocks at all. Thanks for being here, and I can't wait to get started. Let's begin at the top of the mat, spreading the toes, sinking the heels down as we lift the heart and stretch the crown of the head up high. You can come into natural deep breathing. And then we'll put a bend in our knees, sweep the arms back, tuck the chin. I call it downhill skier as you exhale. On the inhale, knees stay bent, but the heart lifts up high. And again, exhale, deep bend through knees, downhill skier. Inhale, sweep your arms up, heart up for chair pose. Let's keep building heat in the legs this way. Tip down, downhill skier, and sweep up for your inhalation. Bend down, downhill skier, and sweep the arms up. Let's pull prayer hands into your heart and slowly step the left foot back, taking big open arms right into a warrior 2. Warrior 2, a beautiful place to build heat in the hips, and it is actually a hip opening pose itself. So sink in nice and low. Breathing slowly. And on an inhalation, sweep your arms up above you. Palms will touch as you straighten your legs. Exhale, come back to warrior 2. Inhale, straighten out, reach up. Exhale, warrior 2. Again, inhale, reach up, lengthen, and then exhale, warrior 2. Come back up, palms touch. Exhale down into warrior 2. Sweep the arms up, this time parallel your feet. Put a bend in both legs, and we're just going to continue building heat in the legs by sinking weight into each leg one at a time. Just lean over one way and then the other. And what you're doing with your arms is really just personal choice. A little stylization, like you're a warrior, and you are a warrior. Dig down as low as you like into each leg and just keep moving with the pace of your breathing. And eventually we'll face this left leg. Set the right knee down, and if the floor feels far away for your hands, this is the time to grab the blocks on either side of your foot. I'm just going to rock forward and back here, bowing over your leg as it straightens. Rolling the hips forward, lifting your heart. Just keep moving in this way. Every yogi will look different and feel different. But just keep finding your way into your own legs and hips, and best of all, breath. Next time you bend the left knee, you might take hold of blocks as we set up for lizard pose. Lizard is one of yoga's best hip openings. The final expression of this pose has your elbows all the way down on the ground, but it's totally not necessary. It may be just enough to softly bend your elbows or to set them down on blocks. Find a place you can sustain for a few breaths and send breath directly to the top of your right hip. Keep squeezing the left knee in toward your ribs, and that's building heat in the left hip joint so that later it will open for you. Sink down as deep as you're willing to. Keep your breath full. And the breath is such a wonderful teacher. If you notice that you're holding it, it may be that you're pushing too hard. So go easy on yourself. Keep sinking in. And then we'll climb slowly onto hands. Take the right hand wide so you can push your left knee away with your left hand as far as is comfortable, perhaps sliding onto the left side of your left foot. Breathe directly into the left inner hip now, lifting and spreading your chest. And then we'll draw this knee back in, plant hands. And I'm just going to quick move my blocks to the opposite side of the mat because I know I'll need them later. But I'll return right back to where I was, facing that left leg. Hands will frame this foot, and I'll step into downward facing dog and take a little while to shift around, send breath into the backs of my legs, and sink heels toward the mat. Keep spreading your fingers very wide, and then take the feet a little bit wider. Come onto tippy toes and bend the knees about 3 times. All of this putting fire in our upper legs so that later they'll open fluidly. Step the right foot outside of your hand, and then the left foot outside your hand, and sink into squat pose. Hands into the heart, elbows can help the knees wide. If your knees don't like this, there's no need to go so low. This is called malasana. Allow the seat to be heavy as your heart shifts high. And then we'll just parallel the feet, slowly straighten or almost straighten your legs as you take this bow in forward fold. And it's always okay to keep your knees soft. And whenever possible, let your head be heavy so the neck can sort of breathe too. Soft bend in the knees. We'll take a slow roll up to stand. The last thing up, our heads. Let's rejoin the feet nice and close together. Take a breath in and out to find your center. And we'll start the opposite side. Prayer hands into the heart, bend through the knees, and sweep your arms up overhead for chair pose. Again, exhale, sweep the arms back, dip low, and reach your arms up, free your heart. Exhale, a deep bow and tuck of the chin. Inhale, sweep the heart up, the arms up, and then we'll take hands into prayer, stepping slowly back with the right foot. Big windmill through the arms to find warrior 2, sinking deeply into the legs as the shoulders soften down. Keep sending the right hip behind you. That's the hip opening element of warrior 2. We'll work through both sides of the legs, upper and under. And then press firmly down through heel to sweep the arms up overhead. Palms will touch, straighten, and then exhale deep into warrior 2. Inhale, sweep up tall like relief. Exhale, an even deeper warrior 2. Sweep the arms up high, palms touch overhead. Exhale, warrior 2, nice and low. And again, sweep the arms up, palms will touch. Exhale, warrior 2. Last time, sweep the arms all the way up, this time parallel through the feet. And then dig into each knee one at a time. Just sort of rock your weight into the left leg, into the right leg. The pace of your breathing, your unique arm expression. So what matters is that we're asking the legs, and in particular the hips, to work quite hard for us now. You'll notice the more you can warm up in the hips, the more of an opening, the more freedom you'll feel later. So now we'll shift to face this right leg, set the left knee down. If you needed the blocks, now's our time to grab them. And we're going to rock forward and back. As the right leg straightens, take a bow over it. And then as the right knee bends, hips sink forward, shift your heart up high, and it's a nice time to inhale. Keep moving according to your safe and comfortable pace. Something great about these videos is that you can pause them and replay if you needed to figure something out. And you also have them now at your fingertips, so you can revisit anytime you like. Let's draw the hands to the inside of this right foot, building our lizard pose again. bending the elbows. Maybe you test the waters. If it feels like you can, set your elbows all the way down to a surface, maybe even the mat. The heart stays relatively light, but you can let your head go. Direct breath into the top of your left hip as though it were a lung, so that with each passing breath, you get just a little bit more freedom there. We're actively hugging the right knee into our ribs, slowing down the breath. Find just the edge of your comfort zone. So there's no real stress or anxiety, but you know you're making progress. We'll climb back up onto hands. We'll send the left hand a little wide so you can push that right knee away with your right hand. Now we're opening that right inner thigh. We can lift the heart away from the knee, expanding through the chest, staying on the outer edge of your right foot if that's comfortable. Nice big breath. And then we'll come back to neutral. Draw the right knee in, plant your hands, and step into downward facing dog. Spreading the fingers wide, maybe a bend into each knee to feel around in the body. What has changed? What do you feel like? Get back into your breathing. And then we'll step the left foot outside the left hand. The right foot outside right hand, sinking low into a squat, using the elbows to encourage your knees wide. Stabilize the breath along your central axis. And this time, we're just going to sit all the way down, preparing for some good hip opening. If you're someone who feels like you have extremely tight legs or tight hips, then it's a good idea to sit up on some height for this next little piece. A blanket could do it, but even a pillow or a bolster might feel great. So sit so that the sits bones are almost falling off of the blanket. And we'll bend the left knee, cross that ankle right over the right thigh. If you find that your left knee is hovering, and in most cases it will be, get a little prop to support your knee. The hips love support. Slowly fold forward if your body is allowing it. Now it may be that even just sitting up tall is enough of an opening. And if that's where you're at, close your eyes and breathe into your comfort. Wherever you are, at the inhalation there can be an expansion, a lengthening of the spine. And at the exhalation, there's a natural deepening of the fold. At some point, it may be that you can remove that support underneath your left knee. And yoga, never getting caught up with what a shape looks like, but always with what it feels like. So as long as your opening is happening, let's make sure we give ourselves credit for having a success. And we'll sit slowly up and then shift into what's called Gomukhasana leg. So the left knee will stack right on top of the right knee. I'm going to show you here that a block can sometimes make this feel much, much better if you're feeling particularly tight. But if you have no problem at all, you may not need that height. So see to it that your left knee is really stacked right atop the right knee. And then if it feels safe and comfortable, hinge slowly forward. Keep using your breath to find the expansion at the outer hips and even at this right back leg. You want to keep finding a sweetness and a peace throughout your practice. And then at its best, the yoga practice informs the rest of our day. We'll slowly come up out of this one. We'll take that left knee away. And we'll set ourselves up for a wide-legged fold. So this will target the inner thighs. And again, for many bodies, it's extremely helpful to sit up on some height, anywhere from a block to a blanket. We'll spread the legs fairly wide, root down through the backs of your thighs, lift on the kneecaps and flex your feet. Keep grounding heavily down through your sitting bones as you begin to walk forward. Keep checking in with breath before you go any deeper. And notice what's happening in your pelvis. So if you're extremely tight, the pelvis tries to roll backward. What you want is to either feel your sits bones down on the ground or to feel like your sits bones could roll behind you. Some bodies are naturally flexible. Some of us have to work harder for it. I've worked really hard for it. The beauty is that it does come. It comes with consistent, dedicated effort. So we'll slowly walk up and out of this. We'll slide that right leg to meet the left. And we'll begin this sequence on the second side. Coming up onto a blanket, if that will assist you. Slide the right foot out and cross that ankle over the left thigh. Use support under the right knee if it's hovering very high. Keep flexing that right foot. That protects the knee joint. And then if it's in your practice, hinge forward. Take it slow. Keep flexing the left foot. And keep using your breath as your best teacher. You may eventually remove the block or the prop. Keep cultivating a softness in your practice. It's especially important for the hip opening part of our practice that we have this kind of mental and emotional softness. The hips are strongly related to the release of emotions, and more medical doctors are agreeing that we store traumas and we store emotional pain in our bodies, in our cells, and in particular in the hips, which can get really stagnant. Let's sit up and keep going. We'll move into our half Gomukhasana legs. That right knee will stack atop the left knee now. Make sure they're really stacked nice and tightly. Some height underneath the hips could help if this feels inaccessible. It may be that sitting upright is enough of an opening. But if it's not, slowly hinge forward, breathing space into your legs and outer hips the whole time. And the hips really respond to this gentleness. If we push too hard, too fast, the hips really get cranky really easily. So take your time with these. And some of you may have been born with really open hips, or maybe you have some past physical history that's given you open hips. And in that case, it's keep finding new edges. There's always somewhere else to go. Let's sit all the way up. Remove any props. And we're going to lie all the way down onto our backs. We'll put a bend through our knees. And then draw the right knee in, crossing that right ankle over the left thigh for figure 4, or thread the needle pose. So we'll reach the right hand right between that hole you've created. The left hand will wrap around the outside of your left leg, and we'll clasp that shin bone, pulling this left knee in toward the chest as much as feels safe. At the same time, you could send the right knee away from you to emphasize it more. And if it feels good, you could lift your head up, maybe even tapping nose to toes. It's a pretty powerful hip opening. And as you come out, set the left heel down, draw this right leg into what's called half happy baby. Right hand grabs the outer edge of the right foot. We're pulling the right knee down toward earth as we keep both sides of the hip heavy. Draw the right knee briefly into your chest and then set that foot right back down. Shake it out. And second side. Pull left knee in, cross this ankle over the right thigh, flexing the left foot. Maybe even just this is an opening, but if it's not, let's go deeper, threading the needle. Reach the left hand through the hole you've created, interlacing fingers behind the right shin. You can pull in gently, testing the waters, sending the left knee away from you. And if you want to go deeper, lift your head and chest. Give yourself a really tight squeeze. Aim nose for toes. And then we'll slowly release it. Plant the right heel as you take the left foot into half happy baby, grabbing the outer edge of it and pulling the knee down toward earth as you keep both sides of the hip as heavy as they can be. There's a vulnerability in this pose, and it's part of what makes it so powerful. Let's hug the left knee in. Draw both knees in and then take the soles of the feet together as you grab hold of your feet, allowing the knees to shoot wide. Lift your head toward your feet. Give yourself a squeeze. This is Reclined Baddha Konasana variation. And then open both feet so you find full happy baby. Femur bones and shin bones are about 90 degrees. Low back stays heavy on the mat as you pull both knees down toward earth. Then finally, we'll set up for our final relaxation pose, Shavasana. They call it the most difficult pose in yoga because we've got to give ourselves this time to absorb the practice, let it make its imprint on our bodies. Spread the feet as wide as the mat, allowing the toes to splay out. Palms will face up a good distance away from your body, maybe 6 to 8 inches. See to it that you're pretty symmetrical. And then just allow your thoughts to drift away. Allow your breath to do its thing. Be glad that you brought yourself to the practice today. Trust that the process is working on you. That each day you return to the mat, you'll see better, newer things coming into your life. Practice and all is coming. Thank you so much for watching. Stay in touch, keep it up, and we'll see you soon.